And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I had mixed feelings when I saw Oh My Goods because I hate the title of this game. It's a dumb title. But it's from Lookout Games, which they make some really interesting games. I heard that the game used cards in multiple ways, so that's certainly something I'm interested in. I like the small size of the game. I like the artwork. So good, bad, maybe we'll find out. Well, we will find out. Let's go. In this game, players are going to be using a deck of builder cards. Now, these cards can be used in multiple ways. When you have a building in front of you, and this is one of the buildings you can start with, for example, so if I have a card on this building, then this building is one of the resources shown on that card. So in this example, the building is coal. If the building would be on here, it would be steel. And it has a value of the coin shown there. So this is a value of 2. This one here is bread. So this card here would be a loaf of bread. It would be a value of 4. These are the resources that you will need to be able to build these. And cards can also be a resource. They'll show the resources in the player's hands. When a card is a building, this is the cost of the building, and this is the points that that building will give you at the end of the game. Each player starts with a worker who can work very hard, or they can do a sloppy job, but you will have a chance to buy other workers. On future turns, you can simply buy these workers if you have buildings of the colors. So if I have 4 red buildings, I can hire her. She's going to be able to work for me. She costs 2 gold, and she will give me 3 points at the end of the game. There's 2 different workers. At the beginning of the game, you kind of randomly just throw out the workers so that each game there will be different workers. So maybe this is the worker available this turn, or maybe instead of him, she's the one available, and they require a different number of buildings. Each player will get 1 starting building. So for each building gives you the same thing, coal, but the resources they need are going to be different. At the beginning of each round, players are going to have a hand of cards, and you're going to be drawing 2 cards at the beginning of each turn. But some cards are going to be placed face up in front of everybody. These are kind of like mutual resources that everybody can use. You will place these cards, and you will draw cards until you get a total of a complete sun. So what you're doing is you're looking at these cards as you're turning them face over, and there's half of a sun, and then when I draw another one, there's a whole sun. So in this case, there are 2 of the ore available, there are 3 wood, and there is 1 brick. But sometimes there'll be more, sometimes there'll be less. After that, players will decide which building their worker or workers will work at the beginning of the game. You have 1, and if you're going to build a new building or not, you place that in front of you. After you've decided all that information, then you will reveal more mutual resources for everybody, again waiting until you get a full sun. So here, for example, I drew 2 more wood. Then you will look at the building your worker is at. So let's say I stuck my worker at this building here. This building needs 3 grain and 3 brick for us to complete these goods. Well, guess what? I don't have, in the mutual goods, let's say there's not 3 grain and 3 brick. Let's say there's 2 grain and 3 brick. Well, I might have another grain in my hand. I can pay that to make up the difference. If so, I get 1 tool, and I'll put a card on top of this here. If I have any of these resources in front of me, I can transfer as many of those over as I want. I need 2 together to get another 6 card. Let's take a look at an easier building. Okay, this is a starting building. So this one needs 2 brick and 1 wood. So let's say out in front of us, I have 4 brick and a wood. So I'm like, great, I don't need to spend any cards from my hand. I take a resource from the pile and put it on top. But I can also pay as many wood cards from my hand. So let's say I had 2 more wood cards from my hand. I could also add those to the building. Now these are like extra production. This does not work unless you've already produced at least 1 good. So the good that you produce has to come from the cards in the middle of the table, plus any cards you discard from your hand, and then you can add more if possible. Sometimes they'll come from your hand, and sometimes they'll require other goods to be on the table. Like this requires you to have 1 coal, which comes from here, and 1 wheat, which comes from another building. You get both of those, and you can add more to this. Now, if the worker works hard, you will add 2 goods to the building. As long as you have the resources, you'll add 2. If the worker is sloppy, you'll add only one, but they need one less resource. So to put something here, I might need 3 wheat and 1 brick, or 2 wheat and 2 bricks. And all the other workers, once you buy them and use them, will produce 1 good. This will continue. You'll go round and round and round and round until one player has 8 buildings. At that point, you will add up the points on the buildings that players have built, plus the points for hiring these extra workers, which again need a certain number of colored buildings to get them. Whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. The concept of this game is great. I love the idea of having resources out there, and then you decide where you're going to send your workers. And you might say, well, there's 1 brick and 1 wood out there, and I need 2 bricks and 2 woods. I don't have them in my hand, but I think there's a good chance that they'll show up the second time we turn over goods. There's like a push your luck thing to this. Now, you don't want to push your luck too strongly in this game. You really can't afford to do so. But still, you're trying to put together kind of an engine. You're like, ooh, I have this coal building, and now I'm going to build this. And some of the buildings give you special abilities. Some of the buildings let you draw an extra card every round. Some of the buildings give you 1 resource every round. And some of the buildings give you really good goods. You saw the one building gave you goods that were worth 6 coins. There's one that gives you ones that are 8 coins. And it's neat. You can build this kind of engine. And I like using the cards for multiple things. Everyone's kind of doing this turn after turn, but I mean, it's pretty quickly. Do you have the resources? Great. Build the cards. Maybe play some more from your hand. It's a cool concept and it plays well. But here's the problem. There is really cool cards and really cool engines in here, and I have yet to see a game where somebody can't just build a whole bunch of the small buildings and win the game, or end the game and someone's going to win. Because here's the deal. This building, for example, costs 17 coins to build. That's super expensive. It's worth 4 points. This building here costs 3 coins to build. It is 2 points. And you could say, well, once you get your engine going, you can produce more goods. But the thing is, you can only build 1 building per turn. And getting this engine going takes a lot of time. But you're like, yeah, I can get it going. You might get to make your engine run once. But someone who just plays a whole bunch of the smaller, faster building cards, which honestly comes down to luck, who draws those, because you just might not draw any of the small building cards, is going to do much better. Not to mention, when you build these smaller building cards, they're easier to pull off. So you can be like, oh, I can get more small building cards. And you can build this small building engine, which just decimates the bigger ones. I mean, if I get a card that's 15 coins, I'm like, woo, how can I get that card going? Well, the answer is, you really can't. You might get it going, but with 8 buildings, you start with 1, so 7 buildings over the game. The game could literally be 7 rounds, and that's a very possible thing. And so if I say, whoa, 15-point building, no way I can build it on round 1. You start with 7 resources, and I might get a couple more. So 9, okay, that's not enough. I'll save up. So you get another building out there, and you save up a few more. Maybe by turn 4, you're like, oh, I finally have 15 coins. I can play this. All right, well, now I need to make this one go off. So this one here is furs or leather or whatever it is. And so that's 6 coins. It's amazing. I get the resources. I make 1 of them. And oh, I can use cows. But I didn't build the cow building. Oh, what building is cows? I got to look through these. I might not have even drawn it. And it just doesn't feel like you can put together your engine. And I really was frustrated by that playing this game. I was really frustrated by, ooh, I can do all these cool things. Oh, I really can't. It's the illusion of a cool engine building game. And unfortunately, it's not. Now, maybe there's rule fixes. I've heard rumblings on the internet that there's a better rule set out there, but I'm playing with the rules that came in the box. And that's the rule set that I think, matters, right? If there's better rules out there somewhere, they should be in the box. So as it is in a box, not broken is kind of a strong word for it, but just not fun for me. But man, the idea is there. Maybe someday I'll see another game using this mechanism, which is kind of like Race for the Galaxy and San Juan and stuff. Oh man, I really wanted to like this one, guys. Dice Tower Judgment, so close, but just not good enough.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!